Hey people. Lighting is off. Give me 2 seconds. Ah. Hey, there we go. Lighting is better. And we'll see how well all of this works. I haven't streamed this game before, so we'll see. That's too much lag. Hey, Stony. Wait, what if we change the settings? Let's do medium. Changes will be applied on restart. All right. Oh, we're gonna restart the game. See if it affects the computer a little bit less. How you doing, Stony? Num 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 num. Got me some coffee. Doing all right. Nice. Good to hear. There we go. Alright. Alright, we got some frames missing so far, but lag and FPS looks good. I haven't played this game with lower graphic settings before, so we'll see what happens. Hey, much better, right? Almost no lag. There we go. Motherfuckers. So I started building my new house here by the river, because then I can have water wheels powering my whole building. You're very quiet compared to the music. Sorry. I will fix that. Thank you for mentioning it. We'll move the microphone closer. It's a bit better now. Surely, the thing is, like, in this game, lightning can strike your house as well. So your house could actually burn down. But I'm remaking it to stone. I just need more of the stone brick things. I'm making a ton. I was making a ton here. Just need to make more stone bricks. Alright. We're gonna dump this here. We're gonna... You know what? He shouldn't be lying down. He should just stay, because when he lies down, it looks like he's dead. So I have a buffalo, I have a horse, and a moa in this game. And I'm level 60. I've been level 60 for a while. It's the level cap. And at the moment I am moving my base Just so I could be near that waterfall, actually, that river. And after the house is done, I'm gonna start doing missions seriously. So that's gonna be fun. Like, I've done all the beginning operations. And the next one I need to do is either go into the desert or into the Arctic. After that, I need to prepare a little bit more. There's Pokemons in the chats. And then lowering the quality of the graphics really work well, lag-wise. Let's see, got some aluminium. I placed some drillers in random places on the map as well, where I find deep core resources. Horse. They're super aggressive in this game, the horses. Yeah, see? Fuck you, horse. So annoying. See, this is my old base. This is where I used to live. And now I'm moving base. Yeah, we're gonna pick up some of these doors. Like, now we're at the point where we need to destroy a bit of this house. Of course. Must repair it first? This used to be my stables, but I got new stables in the new house, so I kinda need all this material to upgrade the new house. Ooh, that was a lag spike. I'm just gonna pack him full of stuff. Ooh. I have a little bit of materials. We have a fair amount of materials. No, we can grab that again. gonna pick up the fabricator. Jesus fucking Christ. Just inventory space in and of itself is what I need more of. Good thing I have my buffalo though. Oh jeez. Yeah, there is a definitive lag. That was annoying. Well, what are we gonna do? I think I've done what I can so far. If it becomes unbearable, people will tell me. And I will willfully ignore it. Hehehe. Hashtag badass. There we go. Alright, so now we got some building mats and our ore processing units. Oh shit, we gotta drink as well and eat. Yeah, the lag is still there. And pretty noticeable too. I've been thinking about putting in my leftover graphics card into this computer as well. I don't understand, it worked for a while there. Now it doesn't want to work with me at all. You know what? We're gonna get back to base with this load. Then we're gonna change the game so that there is not as much lag. I have a couple games I haven't tried out that I wouldn't mind checking. But I definitely need to just get back to the new base. Nobles use 200 bits. Is Nobles here? What's up, Nobles? Thanks for the bits, man. Very nice of you. I assume we're gonna get a... Wait. Oh. Dang, the lag is bad now. Whenever Noble spends 200 bits, it's usually an AI song about how sexy I am.
Noble's TV composed a song for you. A melancholic, atmospheric track about distance, time zones, the quiet ache of missing someone who feels like home even from across the world. The song reflects on late-night talks, shared laughs, and the uniquely Swedish calm DrVem brought into my life, cool on the surface, deeply genuine underneath.
Aww.
Through soft melodies and swelling emotion, it
You
captures
sexy
the longing for
motherfucker.
a friend who's far away but never gone.
That is too cute. That is too cute, man.
Time unwinds while I'm reminiscing. You're the calm I hold at midnight, home in a word across the line.
Focus_TV just subscribed. You are seen and appreciated.
Man, how you doing, Nobles? What's happening?
You're never gone. Blue light flickers, it's 3 a.m. for me. Your voice is clear through the static screen.
Really nice song.
Hidden in the spaces between, soft and certain you settle in quietly. Across futures we don't get to see. Comfort floats on digital streams. Swedish winter in the warmth you bring. Wishing you were back next to me. Miles apart but never missing. Time unwinds while I'm reminiscing. You're the calm I hold at midnight.
He can be cute as well, Mr. Nobles.
The line. You're never gone.
If people aren't following Nobles, you should. What do you mean launch error? Easy anti-cheat is not installed. It's a fucking single player game. What do you mean? Miss you too, man. I haven't been streaming for a while. I mean, I streamed twice. Search for a specific game. Find the AZ folder in the game's installation. I don't understand. Alright, I gotta repair a game. Seems like a game that I haven't even opened before. Manage properties. Installed files. No. Does it verify integrity? Yeah. I have to get back to stream, but I saw you live and had to come warm your heart. It'll keep you tabbed up though. Thanks, man. I'm gonna go lurk in your stream as well. I basically just woke up. I've had some breakfast. Whoa. All files validated? Alright, well. Yo. 77 people strong? Dude. Dope. Stuff is going well for Nobles, y'all. Very nice to see. I want to play this fucking game. Play Långvinter. Is not installed. Alright, you know what? Fuck this game then. We're going over to Necrosmith. This makes me a little bit sad. I've never played this game before, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what this game is. We have to rely on the dead if we want to stay alive. Hey, morning, bestie. I'm playing Necrosmith. I wanted to play Icarus, but if I played Icarus and streamed, it was just lagging out as fuck. So here we are. I haven't played this game before. I don't really remember what the game is about. I think it's a roguelite. Alright, yo. Good to know that I won't try it either. Yeah, no. Like I turned down the graphics and everything. Nothing wanted to work. I just fucking play then, I guess. Arcane Enchanter. The dead can be revived on the Arcane Enchanter. Summon the first dead by filling all the slots. Hover over the body part. Hold left mouse button. Drag the part to appropriate slot. Or double click on the body part. Skeleton arm with magic wand. Okay, so I can build my own. Dope. What is this? How are you, Stony? I'm doing good. I think Stony is surviving. Assemble and revive 4 more dead. Experiment with combinations of body parts and see the results. Revive. Release. Okay, so you just release them and they automatically do stuff. When your dead approaches subjects like these on the map, they become yours. From now on, the captured dog will generate mana or gold or body parts every morning. 30 speed. We need legs. Bonus recipe? Here you can revive dead quickly using saved procedures and necessary body parts, dude. Okay. Your dead met its first enemy, it will attack automatically. But its attack and survivability depend on the body parts used to build it. We're missing a bunch of the... Can we do this instead, maybe? Could that work? Yeah, there we go. Your dead met its first enemy will attack on its attacks and survivability depend on the body parts used to build it. Okay, oh shit. Terror's an attack. Your dead located nearby will react automatically, but it's better to have some body parts in stock to revive some new defenders in time. Oh, okay, so we can pause. That's nice. I don't have any fucking recipes. Oh wait, we need second arm. There we go. Where do I see my mana? Up there. Gold. Ores. Your revived dead are shown at the bottom of the screen. You can give the dead easy orders to control them in the dead control. Order the dead to stand. A new day has begun. Every new day there will be new body parts in the tower, and all objects on the map captured by your dead will generate income. Cool. Alright. Interesting. Uncovered the secrets of these lands. You've created several dead, so you should be able to survive here. Create more powerful turns, explore lands, and grow your power bit by bit, and find your way out of this trap. Alright, cool. This is just double shooter. Pew 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 pew. Your dead found an enemy lair. It will automatically attack the lair until it is destroyed. The destroyed lair cannot generate new enemies. Okay. Control is movement using the WASD keys. Turn off control over the dead, right click. Okay, so I can actually... Okay, so they can like just move on their own, but I can also control them. Interesting. Hero-gasm kills 69 enemies. What the fuck is this? Alright, skeleton body with armor.
Sean the non-believer! Sean!
Oh my god, and Ducky is here. What's up, Ducky? Sup, Duckaroo? How you doing? If you lack mana, you can burn unnecessary body parts. Throw unnecessary body parts in the mana extractor. Zombie leg. Increase damage if you're dead. You found a blueprint. +1 damage per level. For tower upgrades, view all available upgrade blueprints. Click on the ribbon marked with an arrow. Use the blueprints. You found. Remember that you need ore for construction. Cool. Hall of Bones. Increase the growth of skeleton body parts. +4 skeleton growth per level. Cool. Alright. Bronze Age Armory. That's the one we're gonna use. Orc arm with armor and shield. Yo. Gives all the dead a +5 vision bonus. Alright, cool. I need like 31 mana. We can get rid of these cheap ass body parts. He's a big one. Just saw the doctor talk about get the nerve burn. You just saw the doctor talk about get the nerve burn in my back again. It's worn off. Aw, shit, man. That sucks, Ducky. I hope it goes away again. I hope the doctor can help you. The fuck is all this? My dudes are just discovering and slaying. Orc skeleton head. Zombie legs. Dual shooter. Let's see. Skeleton body with armor. Let's go with that. Skeleton Bandit. Lasted only 6 months. Fuck, that sucks. Where's everyone? I don't know. Bestie's here somewhere, probably playing Icarus. Stoney's here somewhere. Brings several body parts every morning. Alright, I gotta try to build some here with armor and throwing axe. Let's do 2 of those. Work skeleton leg with boot. This would be a fairly expensive dude. So we'll see if it'll help us at all. 63. Right. It's summer, I'm running out of ice. Destroyed 23 body parts. Just got an achievement. What the fuck is this? Okay. Got Goblin Workshop. Got Goblin Beef Nuts. He's got Magic Barrier. Ooh. Yo, what's this? Your dead found a portal. Click on the portal to activate it. Haha! That's right. The portal has been activated. Now you can use it to release your dead. From it instead of the tower. Cool. I got school in like an hour, so I'm only here for a little bit. Gotcha. The fuck is happening? Zombie leg. No, come on. I didn't even want to release it from here. Come on. Alright. She's gonna give him a little body. He's just a tiny guy. He's a little guy. He's a tiny guy. Alright, fuck that. There we go. Destroy 4 enemy lairs. Gotcha. I feel like I'm definitely not in control of what's happening right now. But it seems like the things are timed as well. Armor 4, armor 6. Let's do that. And then just small skeleton legs. Improves the vision of your dead, plus 2 vision area per level. Gotcha. Like, it seems like I definitely need to have like some type of fighter near my tower. Goblin Workshop. There we go. That should be... There we go. Can't I, like, tell him to defend? Control? No. Stand still. Okay. Let me see. Orc skeleton with body armor. I need a proper head as well. Fuck it. Some of these look so stupid. Really don't want these fuckers. Vampire leg? Don't want the small fuckers anymore. Revive. Release. And particularly you've had your eyes on. New rubber duck, let's go. 5% chance to get double mono when burning a body part. Interesting. Murder! Murder! Stand still. Control. Nope. Control. And he's gonna stand still. Stand still. There you go. Alright, we're gonna try to... What the fuck is this? We're just gonna make jellyfish tentacles, I guess. Let's upgrade the Goblin Workshop and make sure that we can survive. Ducky's had her eyes on all of the... What the fuck was that? What is that? What the... What in the tentacle hentai have I just created? Jesus. Foundation for the return. Found a golden blueprint. Cool, I don't even know what that means, but it's probably good. I mean, let's just save up for that then. Lovecraftian will be... Field Master would be happy, right? I still can't go over how super racist Lovecraft was. It's really stuck with me. There's a Ninja Turtle one that's holding pizza that will be fun too. Oh my gosh, Ninja Turtle duck. Fuck yeah. Oh my god. Tentacles? Yes please. Yo. Revive and release. Oh, okay, I can just fucking right click on stuff I want to burn as well. Let's go. We're just gonna... Tesla keychain increases the damage of your lightning spell by 100. I don't even have a lightning spell, man. Yo, what the fuck is this? The return, last hope for the salvation? What did I even make? I just love seeing those tentacles up there. Just roar. Alright. Jesus. It's Michelangelo. Nice. Fucking love Michelangelo. It's like the best turtle. There we go. Release. Let's see what happens with this guy. Ah, so stupid. Got a bronze forge. Orc leg with boots. What? Zombie arm. Get rid of all these. Surely there's a repo rubber duck. There has to be, right? Somewhere. Let's go. Let's release that motherfucker. Alright, we're gonna upgrade the Goblin Workshop more. That's too much, man. Kill 998 enemies? What the fuck are these achievements? Harpy leg with steel claws? Sick. You found a Scottish one? Nice. There, get some legs there. Got a head. Couple arms. Let's go with that. But you already had a Scottish one. Oh, fuck. Wait. We're gonna use vampire legs. I don't know what the fuck that means, but we'll use them. Release. Harpy body, harpy head. Harpy leg, there we go. Fuck the zombies. Let's go. I'm gonna send out an abomination of a harpy. She means a duck now. LOL. Alright, more harpies. Just send them out. Send them all out. Yo. Alright. I gotta make a couple of them now. I have an English guard one, not Scots. That's kind of weird though, to have a beef eater with kilt and bagpipes. Or is that common for them to have a kilt and bagpipes? Am I that out of it? Have I been away from British culture for this long? There we go. Super defensive man. Kilton Bagpipe does sound like Scottish though, right? Doesn't it just? Defeat. Cause it is, right? Thought so too. Use gold to repair and upgrade devices and items. They will grant you new abilities, increase your chances of survival. I've calculated everything. There's no other way. It will be difficult, but I think I can get the parts and blueprints I need here. I've named this project The Return and broken it down in 6 stages. Meow. Just checking if you're still in your right mind. I'm recording my log, don't interrupt. We needed a picture of Stony in a kilt. Yup. I agree. First stage is the easiest one. Clear the site and prepare the foundation. And then we'll stand on its own. It supports, which will also serve as scaffolding. This log of yours, I've never seen you like this before. Shush, cat. I'm shushing. Allows you to summon a resource collecting cat. A machine that can make even a chair think about its life. Your dead try to keep a distance from enemies and can still understand. So it works salmon. Alright. Frees a few bones every morning. That creates the lightning spell. Allows you to teleport your dead to the tower. Ooh. 100%. That's the one we're going with. What colors do you have in your tartan stew? He's got purple, red, and magenta, I think. Click on the spell button, hover over your dead, and click the left mouse button. Okay, cool. There we go. Revive, release. Revive, release. Okay, so I still gotta, like, hover over the one I want to get back. No, we don't need a shield. Definitely need a leg. You can grab another leg, for sure. Alright, we need one more leg. There we go. Don't have the mana to release more of them. Is that where you got your love of purple? Probably. It's been passed down through the stew generations. Let's go with that one instead. That one instead. Ouchies. There we go. Did you only have like one teleport for the game? No, okay, there we go. Don't have any tower upgrades yet. There we go, Goblin Workshop. Zombie body with armor, I'll take that. You guys should got nothing to do with the tartan. You guys should see all this cool purple house in this game. In his house game. Oh, House Flipper? Because I know Stu's been playing a lot of House Flipper. I seen it. I need some legs. Give me legsies. Yes? One more leg. Take over 11 crypts. Can do. Okay, man. Oh my gosh. Very understandable that your mind goes blank at times. Especially when it comes to Stony. There we go. It's a cheap one. We can just... Pew. Proper zombie here. But yeah, I definitely haven't figured out entirely how to play this game. Right now I'm just building dudes in my base. It feels like I need to focus on, for example, taking over this part over here. Splat, splat. Oh my gosh, yes. Give me that sexy ass tentacle. Show me what it's about, baby. Alright, I'm gonna send him down here. Hopefully. Come on. There we go, and we'll release that fucker. I'm gonna try to go down here. It's like that song Blue, but for his world is purple. Purple, da-boo-dee, da-boo-da. Da-boo-dee, da-boo-da. Da-boo-dee, da-boo-da. Purple. Stand still. Let's see. Alright. Fuck, I need like another leg. He's almost done there. Alright, I think I'm understanding this game a bit better. So we got 400 now. Buy a cat bed, yay. Iron jar. Cool. Oh shit, wait, so like the relics, just keep them from run to run. Dope. Alright. Alright, so but things won't attack me as long as I don't discover them. Is that it? Yeah, we're gonna go downwards with this fucker. Okay, no, so I'm definitely gonna get attacked regardless. Don't have enough legs. The fuck? fuck's sake. Stand still. Control. And he's gonna run down here as well. Let's just go with that one. Alright, stand still. Controlled. Let's see if we can walk down here and kill this monster spawning thing, so we don't have to deal with it. Stand still. Fuck. Ability Ice Ball. Let's go. Release. Oh, come on. So they will just fight anything they come across. Until they die. Or it gets destroyed. We're gonna try to build a couple of fucks. Let's send out the kitty cat to grab some resources. Just release more skeletons as we go along. Let's go with that. Release that guy. Okay, nice. The way I was playing it was too slow. Specifically walking with specific skeletons to spawners. So just making whatever, releasing them into the wild and letting them automate seems to be the way to go.
Ducky Mem 81 just redeemed hydrate.
Oh
Blunt
my
blunt mother
gosh.
lover.
Alright. I shall. Thanks for the water. I appreciate it and you. Alright, so now he automatically walks there, right? Let's go with that. And revive. Oh shit, release. Right. I constantly forget to click release. There we go. The lizard was out of stock. No! That's annoying. Let's just do this weird ass half zombie. What even is that? Look at that arm. So mighty. I mean, I don't hate the combo that he's shooting, and then as soon as they come near, he whacks them. Whack him on the PP, as they say. Revive, release. Zombie head with helmet, what? Yeah, me too. Fuck that one up. Transforms the sky energy and speeds up your dead. Dope. An orc skeleton I can live with. There we go. Release. 2 zombie legs. Ooh, Book of Lightning. That seems nice. I mean, I'd love a better head. There we go. Alright. Send that guy out. Take over 9 gold mines. Whoa. It's gonna be such a weird... weird thing to build. Hey, X-Gamer, what's up? How you doing? Did you just wake up? Increases the damage of your dead. Cool. Let's see. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Those are too cheap. You're doing better. That's good. It's nice to hear. Better than doing really bad. Oh, we're gonna get rid of that. Oh, actually, we're gonna try to make a proper zombie. I wanted to say, but we're not gonna do that. Smack, smack, smack. +1 damage to level, +1 speed to level. Let's see. What are y'all up to today? What's everybody gonna do? What are y'all plans? Let's release him. Let's just sell them all. It do be Vemsday. I don't start until 12:40 today. Oh no, but you still, like, you have school again. School has started? Sucks. Ah, no. Stay up late and then sleep most of the day. Right. Let's just send that shit out. This is gonna be a real weird one, but let's send it out into the world. After school, I'm going to play some Quarantine Zone and some Triple Z, I guess. Nice. Got plans already. It's good to know. Good to hear. Alright, we're just gonna send that fucker out. We need another leg. One of the plans for Wednesday is to meet up with Stony and AFK. Nice. Oh my gosh, someone's got a hot date. Hope he puts out. Sorry. That was unnecessary. Yo. How fast did that happen? Abomination. Nice. Quarantine Zone came out 2 days ago and it's so fucking good. Oh, it's the one where you scan people if they're zombies and stuff? I've seen clips of it online. I thought it was already out, but it must have been like early playtests and stuff. Let's see. A few bones every morning. Let's do the Tesla machine as well. and do another round. Demo for almost a year, that's why. Yep. Hey, thanks for the bits, Ducky. My gosh, and the love. You're such a sweetheart. Ah, more skeletons. Let's see. Can't do that one. That's okay. We need a leg as well. Give us a leg. There we go. We're gonna release that one over here. Whoopsie. Alright, let's see. Revive, release. Smack. Ouchies, 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 ouchies. Stop hurting me. Senior year is so chill and so stressful at the same time. Yeah, I know what you mean. I remember from my high school days. Let's see. Alright. Give us a leg. Awesome. That's a weird fucking combination, but we'll go with it. What's your senior year final project? By the way, like, what are you working on? There we go. And release them from there, I guess. Got no upgrades so far. Splat, splat, splat. Oh, come on. That's fucking annoying. Revive and release. Run, kitty cat. Motherfucker. Hey, no, we're just gonna walk over here with him. Bastard orc skeleton? That's a thing? Gotcha. Alright. Jesus. make a couple of these, just small skeletons. There we go. Ouchies, ouchies. There we go. Okay. Alright, there we go. My junior was my favorite. Broadcasting class was extra fun that year, and I was on the flag team. I love that you have so many like different clubs and stuff in America. We don't really have that in Sweden. You just have classes and that's it. Basically. There's something to be said about the private school system that you all have. When it comes to extracurriculars, that is. Don't think it would suck to ape that in Sweden either. Just not funded by people's own money, just taxpayer money instead, I think would be better. Should I only have one now? Well, I'm gonna lose. Alright. Yeah, I don't have money enough to do anything here. Let's go another run. Revive. Release. Revive. Release. Oh my gosh. We're just gonna send them out as soon as we can. Again. Let's see. All right. There we go. Release. Oh, come on. I'm in a smaller town, but we seem to have a lot of fun extracurricular activities. Can't imagine how it is in bigger cities. Yeah. But it feels like in smaller towns it's more important to have extracurricular activities as well, because that kind of knits the community together. Get rid of that one. That arm. Let's go. Release. And revive and release. Let's go. Ooh, tentacle. Let's go, kitty cat. I doubt the big cities have a rodeo club, that's fair. They probably do not. Inner city rodeo club. It's where you try to ride a police horse. First of all, you steal a police horse and then you try to ride it around. Release. Alright, we need like one more leg, guys. Give us a leg. Oh shit, and mana, I guess. There's people coming from everywhere now. I ain't the happiest camper. There we go, revive, release. You can finally do something. I need a head. Go, go, kitty strangers. Let's go. Hey, what's up, nephew? How are ya? I am still pretty tired. Oh my gosh. I have to soon buy my studentmössa. Oh, nice. The student cap is... It is kind of fun to buy it. I always thought, at least. I just didn't spend a ton of money on mine. Because I didn't really see the point. The joke my school said about our rival school was, there's one good reason to graduate from Bonneville. You can take your diploma and use it as a handicap sign in your car. Yo! That's mean. That is mean. Fun, but mean. Jesus. Bonneville is such a hick name for a school as well, I think. Yeah, skeleton power. Revive, release. Revive, release over there, actually. Haha. Didn't see that coming, did ya? It was a hick school. Nice. I'm not gonna spend that much on it, under 1,000 kroner, like I'm not going over that. Yeah, no. I think mine cost like 700 crowns. So like, yeah, 70 bucks. Around there. I think I might die now. Or... Yeah, no, it's not going too well right now. never gonna use it again. So I mean, it is kind of tradition. So I don't know if, like in the U.S. in college, I have graduation caps, but we have graduation caps in high school, and it's kind of tradition to wear your graduation cap whenever you go to someone else's graduation as well. Yeah, it's nice to look at now and again as well. It's a nice piece of decoration in your home. Let's see. Enhances the quality. No, let's go with that one. I'm enjoying this game. It has the potential of making me a bit obsessed. But I can't lie, I'm sitting here just thinking like, maybe I should stop streaming soon so I can play some Icarus instead. I'm really annoyed that I couldn't stream that. Because that's such a good game. Oh, yeah. Icarus, I saw you played, searched it up on Steam, went, that looks like a good game. It is a good game, that's the thing. Survival crafting, as usual, because that's the only way we do. And there's a tech tree talent system. And you also have like missions, you have story operations they're called. And with the DLC you have like hunts. Yeah, this is just shuffled right now. I don't know what the songs are about, but I'm not hating it. Dr. Hoobs, what's up? It's the legendary, the Hoopsy Poopsy. How are we doing? Where is the rest of your days? Philosophy. You're okay? How's uni for you? Are you surviving? Whoa. Never mind, nothing super important. Improves the vision of your dead. +2 vision area per level. Nice. Ted tired to stayed up till 1 AM playing Stardew. That's what Soul was doing. Cause I saw he was online on Stardew Valley and was like, very cute. I didn't see you online though. Then again, I don't know if I have you on Steam. Willies. We have... That's enough for zombies. Release that fucker. That is crazy, yeah. Still not back from Christmas break, nice. Shoot me a friend request, friendo. Or I'll pee in your something. Ah, Dr. Hoops is waiting for a response to a friend request. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, deny. No, I'm just kidding. The Icarus, really sad that we couldn't stream that because I really like it. And I hit the level cap as well a couple days ago. So now I've just been upgrading everything, and moving bases. Oh my gosh, you get a Pokemon tourney on Friday. X-Gamer started school last week on Thursday. That sucks. You can save the procedure. Ugh, no. We need a Goblin Workshop for sure. Hall of Bones, yeah. See, the thing is, so far in this game, I understand that you need to find blueprints for it to go well. But it's super fucking random whether or not you get blueprints or not. He had a big right arm. Thursday's our longest day. Aww. Sucks, man. Just look at this. The fuck is wrong with him? Pew, poof, pew. Sick. Let's go with that. And then 2 zombie legs. Willies. Don't really like the small skeleton ones. Oh shit, what the fuck? Ah my gosh, thanks Hoops. You're such a sweetheart. Just stop throwing bits at me. I'm literally not doing anything to deserve it. I'm not even keeping a regular schedule or anything. I'm just here at the moment looking kinda cute. Teehee. Am I gonna die now? I don't understand how I can get this overwhelmed this quickly as well. Oh fuck. Never mind. So chill today though, so I guess they had to balance it out. Yeah. Making a schedule for school is not the easiest thing in the world. So answer, do you still get talent points even though you level cap? No, you don't get talent points, but you still get blueprint points. So you can unlock everything with the blueprints in the blueprints section area thingy. But you can't you can't max out all your talents, sadly. I was really sad about finding that out because I kind of wanted more talent points. Skill issue for real, for real. True. What's the random list in the middle of the screen? Oh shit, I forgot to do that. It's a to-do list I had ages ago. I just forgot to remove it. Fucking... thanks for pointing it out. No one else pointed it out. Traitors, all of you. Silly streamer. That's me. Just a silly little streamer boy. Alright, that's... Oh shit, I had a bunch as well. Holy fuck. I am making a fool of myself. I had 4 skeletons just... I forget to hit the release button. What does fool get sister remote? that is kind of weird, yeah. Because there's nothing bad in being a fool. We're all fools at times. Foolish little cuties, that is. Teehee. Man, I'm tired. Yeah, I think when I die here, we're gonna take a little break. And... or I might just quit streaming. Several goblins living in this workshop. Yes, nice. Goblin workshop. Lurky lurk while I nap. Nice. Thanks for the lurk, Hoobs. Appreciate it and you. Zombie body with armor. There we go. We got a gaggle of them now, at least. Yes, murder the lair. Do I get blueprints when I kill lairs? I do. Fuck yeah. Let's release her. There we go. Just a basic but constant heal feels nice. Okay, I don't need to worry too much about these fuckers. There we go. Let's go with that. I feel it's crazy how you can't keep up with the chat like 4 chatters. How the fuck the streamers 1,000 shares even be able to read a single message? Seriously though. I don't understand that at all. But I think like some of them it has to be like that they don't look at the chat specifically, but that they look at messages from mods and maybe like text to voice chats. Don't you think? Has to be something like that. Where's your TTS? Shit, I don't know if I have it on this one. Doesn't seem like I have it here. Wait, let me... browser source. Tanja overlay. There we go. That should work. I've been in a stream with like 4,000 minutes and a few messages and one of them got read. Crazy. Sick. That's kind of cool though. Not gonna lie, bro. It's kind of dope. It's kind of cool. Whoa, yep, I can hear you. I don't know if the crowd can hear you, or hear the TTS. Increase the regeneration of your dead. Ooh, that's actually kind of nice. Throwing axe is pretty dope. Yeah, you didn't hear a thing. But the Tanja stuff is up. Don't we have the David Attenborough TTS there? Let's go. I love these fucking tentacles. They're just so weird. Blah, blah. Let's revive and release. Let's go. I feel like it's going better this time around, but that's also because, like, my dudes are keeping to the base. It would be nice to have some type of priority thing.
Sex tentacles.
Yes, sex tentacles. Oh my gosh. So silly. Like, it would be nice to be able to prioritize, like, oh, are my dudes gonna be offensive or defensive? Or just neutral. Because right now it's like standstill, control, save, and kill. That's about it. And that doesn't feel like much of a variation. More tentacles! There we go. That's a zombie right there. Like, there's a fuck ton of mana out here, yeah. Thank you, kitty cat. Whoa, 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 whoa. King head with crown? No way, we're gonna save that guy. That looks so dope. I haven't seen that one before. Jesus. Let's build him and release. It's so weird seeing all snow gone. It's just no, it's just raining a lot. Yeah, I think so too. So you know what? We're gonna like save those two. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're definitely gonna have a tentacle for the king dude. We can do an orc skeleton leg, fuck it. Why not? There's still a ton of snow where I live though. It hasn't started raining yet either. Alright. Let's see if this does anything. I have a king. Oh my god, formation? Yo, that is so dope. Is that like just an ability he has and busts out every now and again? Yeah. Dope. Dope. Revive. You can't revive more than 15 dead? Stupid. That is stupid. We're just gonna walk around with my king here. Fuck everything and everyone. Alright, so we got 2 minutes left on the timer. That would be the first time I've actually timed it out and not just lost. Blah. Blah. Kill that guy. Control! We got 2 kings. You're both with tentacles. You're this is beautiful. There's so many tentacles everywhere. Roar. We're gonna use that. We're gonna put that there. And we're just gonna sell everything.
I'm actually surprised that we got like almost 2 decimeters of snow.
Oh, right. By the way, so nice that David Attenborough understands that DM means decimeter. But yeah, it seldom snows that badly in Malmö. It's like having that much snow is crazy. 13 seconds left, gang. Think we can make it? Enemy lair releases enemies. Okay, so that's like... Whoa! What the fuck is that? There's a dragon? A fat little dragon? What the fuck? This game is an asshole. But we got 1,300 though. We're definitely gonna do the blueprint decoder. Let's see the repair selected it. You know what, gang? I'm gonna take a break. I'll probably come back to play some more of this. My trainer needs to take leaves at 11:50. That's in a while. It's like 2.5 hours. I'll be right back, gang. See you soon. Here comes the penis man. Wait. Fucking... Is it like... Yeah... I done messed up, gang. There was more to this game than I was showing. There you go, now you can see everything that I can see. Revive, release, revive, release. How many wolves have you tamed in Icarus? I have not tamed a single wolf in Icarus. You can tame the wolves? How? Do you like catch them and throw food at them, or? So you just like encircle them, and then you throw the snare. Ah, of course. Snare and bait. So it's the normal snare and bait, not the one you, not the bait you unlock from the operations mission. It's the normal snare and bait. Jesus. Well, I appreciate you. I'm thinking, because like right now with Icarus, I'm just exploring the world, trying to have a cozy time and complete missions. But sometime in the future, what we should do is restart the game, just you and I, with like level 1 characters. But kit them out with all the loadouts that we unlock now. Yeah, just level maxed. So I told you, in the game I just found out like what foods gives you extra XP, and then I just went ham on that, and I think most of my XP has come from chopping trees, honestly. Is that gonna be open for the new characters? It should be, yeah. That's the thing that I understood, that everything you unlock in the starting screen is loadouts that you can bring with you into a new game. And I think like if you die on a mission with those things on you, you won't get them back. And that's the big problem. Like once you've unlocked them, then you can craft them in the loadout screen as well for a smaller fee. Let's go with that one. Revive, release. Just got my first Black Wolf. Oh yeah. I loved when that happened as well. I got it with a taxidermy knife, so I have the Black Wolf trophy as well. See, this is what I'm saying. I should be able to stream Icarus, because Icarus is such a badass game. I'm thinking that I might open up my computer and stick in the second graphics card. Maybe that'll help make it easier to stream and stuff.
Won't rest till I get even a shoulder.
What the fuck?
That would be the most man's got for me in a very long time, Shorzy.
Hey, you ever been sitting
Jesus,
across from someone and just trying to have a normal
Nobles.
conversation?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah! Shut the fuck up.
Nobles_TV just traded with 55
Hey, gang.
viewers.
Hey,
Thanks
Nobles.
for sharing your community.
Hey,
Doctor,
people from
add
Nobles
55
channel.
to your push-up debt.
Oh my god. Fucking not that Nobles. Dismiss. Oh my god. This hey, people from Nobles channel. I'm DrVem, variety streamer. I don't stream too often either. We're trying out a new game today called Necrosmith. What up, Nobles? Thank you so much for the raid. That is insanity. That is pure insanity. Oh, come on, I can't give Nobles a shout out for another minute because I fucked up and shouted out just some person named Nobles, not Nobles TV. Welcome to the stream. Holy shit nuggets. 55 people. What's up, Nobles? What am I guessing? How's it going in fucking Once Human? Lialvi deleted Lialvi's message. Alright. Let's see. That's an orc leg. We'll get rid of the orc leg. I'm a content creator for Once Human. Seriously, dude! Whoa! Fucking awesome, man! What does that mean? Does that mean like you get a ton of free stuff and you're like officially sponsored by them? Or what? That is fucking dope. I think I told you like months ago as well, like, hey, when are they actually going to make you like a partner or something? Because you've been streaming it so much. Oh my fucking god, man. That is so dope. Special stuff to give away on stream. Oh my gosh. That is dope as fuck, man. So happy for your sake. You deserve it, friendo. Fucking dope. I've been so bad at checking out anyone's stream, really, lately. And see what I miss? See what I miss? I miss Nobles joining the big leagues. What the fuck? Dang, did they like contact you or something? Or did you contact them? Like how did that happen? Oh shit. There's too many things to build now. Such a stupid. You applied. Fucking dope. That is so cool. That's so cool, man. And they were like, oh yeah, this dude is dope. We gotta work with him. So, smart choice from the Once Human community. Because I know you've been streaming with like a bunch of big Once Human streamers as well. You've been making numbers, man, lately. So cool. By the way, look at this big ass abomination. Food makes your dead more viable. Alright, cool. Let's just make them more viable. Streaming with all my friends. That is so cool, man. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, JT, I've seen before as well. Now we could give you a shout out. If people aren't following Nobles, you fucking should. I've seen you stream with JT, but not Cinder Rumor and Astral. I think I've seen Tubby as well. I was checking in earlier when you jumped in here to say hi. And y'all were like standing on a motorcycle? Just like 5 people on a motorcycle or something? You seem to be having a good fun time. A silly old time. A bicycle, sorry. We gotta pause the game so we can send out the correct, or just send out someone to defend. Hey, Lauren was riding us around. That I was. Welcome to the chat, Lauren. Dang, so y'all just been messing about in Once Human, huh? Sounds so fun. I got like really obsessed with Once Human for a while, and then my obsession just broke. But that's how it is for me as well. Which is the biggest reason why I'm a variety streamer, because I can't keep to one game. Consistency in gaming is not my thing. Nobles, on the other hand, he streams for fucking 14 hours a day, Once Human. Obsession has yet to break. Yeah, no, I've noticed, man. Yeah, you've made a lot of friends in that game, haven't you? In the community. Let's see. We're gonna send him out. Made a lot and lost a lot of them. Yeah, that's kind of what happens, I think, as well. Like, you win some, you lose some. People come and go. Like, I was there for a while. And no, I'm not. I'm a traitor to the cause. Are we going to make a magician? Nope. We're gonna make an abomination. What the fuck? That's gaming in a nutshell, unfortunately, right? I read, rather my wife told me that she read somewhere recently that friendship is in and of itself kind of rude. Because if you want to be friends with someone, you gotta demand their time. Like, hey, I like you. I want to be your friend. Fucking, let's hang out. Let's talk. It's like saying, oh, you won't get rid of me. To me, that's akin to saying I love you. So Nobles love Cinder and Lauren. Oh my gosh. That is so cute. Alright, just sending out everyone we can. Oh shit, I forgot about these. Work growth per level. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of the zombies and just focus on orcs. Let's see. That's a skeleton arm. That's a harpy leg. Zombie arm, zombie arm. Orc skeleton arm. I am okay with this. DrVem is stuck with me too. It's been around a long time, yet here I am. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, I've had a tough time with my anxiety over the holidays and stuff. But I'm getting back to it. I'm here to stay. Can't revive more than 15 dead. I think that's some bullshit, actually. I don't like that at all. Yeah, we are super happy to see you here, man. Appreciate you lots, buddy. I did get through them. Me and the wife were both sick throughout the holidays as well. It was so fucking annoying. Like, she was down with the flu. I had a stomach bug. It was just so annoying. Like for 2 or 3 weeks. So me and her spent the holidays just together. No one else here. And we ate what we could. Watched a lot of movies, played a lot of games. Had very little energy for much. My espresso depresso is raging right now. I think the holidays kicked my butt. Yeah, no. For sure. I honestly think that, like, being sick over the holidays kind of saved me from the worst of it. But there's definitely a level of, like, what's it called? Not flashback, but whiplash. When it comes to the holidays. Motherfucker. Alright. There we go. Release. Let's see. Orc with body armor. Orc head. Orc armor. Orc skeleton arm. I need another orc leg. Need building perms. You should ask why though, Lauren. Ask why and deny him all the building perms. Make him pay for it. Alright, let's kill that guy. Kitty cat, kitty kitty cat cat. Let's see. Jesus fucking Christ. Yep. There's a lot of stuff happening in this game for me. And I don't fully understand the game to begin with. Hobgoblin Workshop. There we go. You got some tentacle sex going on. Always nice. Everyone enjoys. Hentai for everyone. Oh yeah. Let's try to build a vampire, I guess. Orc body. Vampire head, orc body. Harpy legs. Let's go, motherfuckers. What do you mean defeat? Fuck off. Well, 1.7k at least. Enables acid fog spell. I also think I want to upgrade my kitty cat and then Magic smithy. Right. Let's go for one more, and then we're probably gonna quit for the day. Because I am not Nobles. I do not stream for 14 hours straight. I'm not a machine, I'm purely a man. As you destroy your ability of your deck, click on a spell and cover your deck and click the left mouse button. Gotcha. Hey! Hey! Hey, motherfucker! Let's fucking do this and release. You would if it was for the Spank Emporium. The Spank Emporium demands what the Spank Emporium demands. You cannot deny the Spank Emporium. It shall receive what it needs, what it must have. We're just gonna throw out some more skeletons. Just got myself another bison. They named him Socrates. My bison was named Plato. Also, the bison in Icarus are so fucking good for hauling items. Like, I've moved almost my entire base to a new place in 3 goes thanks to the bison. Revive. Let's go. Send out the kitty cats. Meow. Hey, X-Gamer, what's up? Ooh, orc body parts. Don't mind if I do, actually. Zombie body with armor. Let's go full zombie, motherfuckers! Let's release him over here. Just because we can. Ooh, orc head. Nice. An orc leg. No, we're gonna get rid of the zombie stuff here. Another orc leg. Fuck it. Revive release. There we go. It just looks so stupid. I will stop trying to name the animals I tame. The game comes up with the best names. Seriously though. They do. Harpy head with helmet. Several hobgoblins. Oh fuck yeah, I love that one. Oh shit. Alright, I have a ton of body parts now. Revive release. Release the kitty cat. Bat's ability. She's got no ability. He's got no ability. Orc body armor has no ability. I mean, it seems like the bats one is gonna be the best. Increases armor if you're dead. Vampire bite. You do some harpy steel feather wings. Oh, Jesus, that's an expensive dude. I'm gonna release him though. Nice. Alright, see, we're learning way more about this game as we go along. Get rid of all the zombie parts. Fuck the zombie arm. Alright. Revive this fucker. Yeah. No, come on! He died immediately? What the fuck? What the fuck? He costs so much to build. Let's teleport you. Yo. Oh, come on. Fuck's sake. 3K debt, yeah, but I got that, I got that thing with my titties. I won't be doing push-ups for a good while. Sadly. Got an inflammation in my breastbone. Which means I won't be doing any push-ups. And I know that is very sad, very disappointing for everyone involved. Man, there's a lot of stuff that's not right with me. It's getting there. I just take anti-inflammation medicine every day. So it'll be fine sooner or later. Magic barrier. Alright, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's just send these fuckers out. Hate a shield. Det löser sig. Det gör det alltid. Jo, det fixar sig till slut. Finns inga tvivel om att nu känns skiten sur. Flera mil ifrån det ordnar sig. Cool. Need another arm and another leg. It is bedtime. You found a cozy bed to invade? Yo. That sounds pornographic. Lightning capacitor. Speeds up your dead. Fuck yeah, man. Let's do this. Get rid of that one. That one. It doesn't look too fucked. I like to sleep at other people's bases. Next. Naz. It's the good stuff. Why sleep in your own bed when you can sleep in someone else's bed? I think the bastard orc skeleton was kind of fun. Yeah, I realized that I really like roguelike games, but they also take up so much time because you're never done, kinda. You just want to continue playing. Revive that shit. Let's go. The fuck? Yeah. Just those legs. The fuck? What in the world? Alright, what's a big one? Big boy! I want to upgrade my Hobgoblin shop as much as I can. Gotta restart your PC. Stuff happens, it's just hibernated. Yeah, I try to restart my PC like every 2 days or something, or 3 days. Just because otherwise it gets cranky. Smack. Send out the kitty cat. So the kitty cat spell is just a cat running around getting the drops that my normal dudes haven't collected yet. Orc skeleton, orc skeleton, orc skeleton, zombie, 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 zombie. Normal skeletons. Normal skeleton, normal, zombie, zombie, zombie. There we go. Fuck off zombie shit. I don't want any more zombies. Nice. Another big boy. Alright, another leg and a face. I sure do love Wallpaper Engine. Is the cool. I've seen you and like Jesse Easy play Wallpaper Engine a lot. Is it just like you make wallpapers, or what's the game about? Yeah, I don't understand it just from the name. Game. So it's not really a game, is what you're saying. So it's more like a program where you design wallpapers. Let's see. Revive release. Let's go. But also there's so many wallpapers on the workshop. But it's not a free game, right? Like it costs. You gotta buy it. €5. It's not too bad though. Like I've seen worse. Armor and throwing axe. It is animated wallpapers, not just that. Interesting. By the way, what the fuck is happening here? Murdered. Do you have a tentacle wielder somewhere here? Oh, never mind, I don't have the fucking teleport or anything. The one I am using currently have audio responses. It will change with my music and follow the beat and stuff. Wait, so like in the wallpaper engine, you can make that and then you can actually use it as a wallpaper on your computer as well? It's not like only in the program. Work skeleton body, zombie. Dope. Alright, that sounds cool as fuck, actually. I don't know what my dudes are doing. I know I'm dying. Let's go with that. Revive, release. Let's go. What up, enemy? Best use of money in a while. I gotta check it out, I think. Can you like send the wallpapers to people as well, or? I'm thinking like if I buy it, could I design a wallpaper for the wife and then send it to her? Hey. Dope. That is dope. Alright, I might have to check that out actually. Let's go again. You could like send the link on Workshop. It would be connected to your Steam so you could share it with anyone. Dope. Alright. I gotta check it out then. There's not much more to it. I'm a sucker for novelty. Revive, release. Revive, release. Let's go. I've not touched the editor myself. I just have used Workshop wallpapers, but damn, it is already worth. Dope. I think Jesse Easy might be tuning with the editor when he's in there. It's just a hunch I have. Let's just fucking send out what we can, really. Brings several body parts every morning. Nice. Bring some mana. Can you go over there and grab that then? Thank you. I'm getting a blueprint right about there. Nice. Orc growth. We enjoy. Get rid of that. Grab that one instead. Release that fucker out into the wild. Oh, nice. We got the healing one as well now. That's fucking dope. Right. I already have over 10 hours in wallpaper. It only counts the hours when you have the menu open and browsing and stuff. Jesus Christ. That is kind of... It's a good endorsement of the game, gotta say. Nice. Just big orc body and then small zombie stuff. Let's do it. Bastard orc. You found a secret recipe. Oh wait, so it's like with the recipes, they cost less. Ah, now I get it. So you kind of want to have the secret recipes. Thing I regret is not knowing about it earlier. I feel that. Let's see. Let's go. Revived release. Oh, that's a couple of them. Let's go. Skeleton apprentice, skeleton mage, bastard orc skeleton, skeleton bandit. No, we're just gonna get rid of these fuckers. There we go, revive release. Get the fuck out there and fight. Orc head with helmet. Revive release, let's go. Revive release, let's go. We're just pumping out people as fast as we can. Tower repair, please and thank you. Come on, come on, come on. Revive release. Is that, yeah, orc stuff, orc stuff, orc stuff, orc stuff. Iron smithy, nice. Let's go. And we'll release him over here. For good measure. But yeah, this is gonna be the last run. Then we're gonna end it. Oh my gosh. We just need a body. That works. Stupid fucking body, but. Orc leg with boot. Let's go. Food makes your dead more viable. Nice. Iron smithy, Iron Age armory, Orc slaughterhouse. Let's give them more armor. Just pump them up. Overall. Alright, we're gonna get rid of anything that doesn't have armor, I think, as well. Can't revive more than. Alright, fuck that guy then. Orc body, orc leg. Reduces teleport cooldown by 10 seconds. Nice. Found 6 relics. Oh, come on. Thank you. I just want, like, living orc. Here. Would be nice. 20 HP per level. There we go. Smack him up bad. Alright, you. We'll grab that one instead. Alright. We're gonna get rid of some stuff, right? Ooh, vampire body's good. Could we build a whole ass vampire? That'd be dope. That's another vampire leg. Mantis leg? Lizard man leg? What the fuck are these things? Abomination. Bat flock. What the fuck? There's so many weird things going on here now. Jeez. Jesus fucking Christ. What am I even doing with this game? Armor and bomb? The fuck? Let's see. We're gonna upgrade the Hobgoblin Workshop a lot. Lightning capacitor, lightning rod. There we are. Ooh, nice. Alright. We got a king. What arms do we have for him, though? Nice. Flying King. Sick. That is disturbing. Do we have, like, normal orc heads somewhere here? No. crossbow. Yo, the lizard people are what we want. Mantis arm. Just abominations everywhere. I had a box of joy, a Game Boy. Fuck off. Increase the speed of a control the dead. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm dying now. Alright. Jeez. E-Peats. Right, 1254. 4 random lizard body parts. Fuck yeah, man. Alright, gang. I'm gonna slam y'all over to someone else. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Boxy Fox is here. In Star Rapture. Let's show them some love. We're gonna break right now. Okay, then I'm just gonna wait until we're back. Say goodbye to the peeps properly. That is true. I gotta. Let's see. Boxy Fox is playing Star Rupture. I think that's a new game as well. It's like a mix between No Man's Sky and Satisfactory. Kind of cool. I've almost hit my first wolf. I'm so happy. Dope. But the wolves should be like dogs then. Like attack dogs, right? That's insane. Oh my gosh. After stream, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna have a snack, I think. Guard dogs, you can hunt with them and stuff. Nice. Let's see here. We're gonna change the music a little bit as well. Oh my gosh. All right. Hey people, welcome back from the ad break. I'm ending my stream, but we're gonna go over to Boxy Fox. They are a VTuber currently playing Star Rupture, which is a new game as well. So we're gonna go over there and send them some love. Hey, thank you everyone who came in. Thank you Raiders, thank you Nobles. Just fucking amazing. Thank you all 19 people who are raiding with us today. Appreciate you a lot. I'll be streaming this weekend properly. Probably and properly. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.